Welcome, welcome. We are live and living color this evening. Come on in. Y'all know how we do. Come on in. Welcome to the live. Y'all know by now that you don't have to take off your shoes when you come into my live. You don't have to dust your feet off when you come into my live. You don't have to ring the doorbell when you come in my live because the door is already unlocked and open for you. And I welcome you this evening. I welcome you. We are live and living color. We have a good show this evening. Really good show this evening. Come on in. I welcome you all this evening. Those of you that are live right now, I welcome you. Those of you that will be watching this live on the replay, I welcome you as well. Come on in. We got some boxing to discuss this evening, particularly the politics of boxing. We want to talk about the politics of boxing. We're going to talk about the politics regarding Gervonta Davis versus King Ryan Garcia. We're going to talk about the politics regarding Errol the Truth Spence Jr. versus Kieth one-time Thurman. We're going to talk about the politics regarding Caleb Sweet Hands Plant versus David Benavidez. And we're going to talk about my message that I so eloquently have for those of my detractors and haters. And you might be a hater of Manager Marty. You might be a detractor of Manager Marty. And I want you to know that if you are watching, I welcome you as well. Yes, I welcome you all. I'm still waiting for some more people to enter in because we're going to talk about the politics of boxing. So come on in. I welcome you all. Come on in my house. I welcome you. You do not have to take your shoes off, dust your feet off. You don't have to ring the doorbell because the door is unlocked and open for you. I welcome you. Come on in. I'm waiting for more people to join us as the numbers of viewers are increasing exponentially. And then we're going to get right into it with regards to the politics of boxing. Let me let you all know that the link is in the description. So you know how we do. Link is in the description. It's in the chat. I wouldn't even say it's in the description. I would more so say it's in the chat. But salute to everybody that's in the chat right now. Big ups to you all. Shout out to you all that's showing me love in the chat. Appreciate it. Y'all know what to do. Y'all been on YouTube longer than me as a viewer. And everybody already know I'm the rookie as a content creator. So y'all already know what the protocol is. When you join someone's live, come on and hit the like button. I encourage you all to hit that like button. We about to get into some boxing talk this evening. Yeah, salute to all of you all in the chat. Once again, I welcome you all live and live in color. Don't forget the link is in the chat, okay? All right now, because you know some people be wanting to join sometime. So I welcome that too. Yeah, I welcome all of that, man. We're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk some politics of boxing. And I'm just excited that you all are here with me this evening. Salute to my guy, Mr. Pragmatic, my main man, Pots and Pan, Mr. Pragmatic. Definitely a supporter of the channel. I salute to you specifically. And I salute all of you in the chat, all of you that's watching me live. We're going to talk about the politics of boxing. If you're just joining us, we're going to talk about a lot of different fights that's coming up. Some are already signed. Some are not signed officially yet. And we're going to talk about the politics of boxing with regards to those fights, including Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Errol Spence Jr. versus Kieth Thurman Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. All right. So we're going to talk some boxing. And, you know, once again, you already know the link is in the chat. Those that want to join. And I'm just excited to be here this evening. Let me show y'all my face, man. You know, I like showing my face when I go on my live. I like showing my face when I am introduced in other people's live. If I'm invited to other people's live stream or panel, I always like to show my face at least for the first few seconds or few minutes so everybody can identify who I am, and then I might turn my camera off when I'm on someone else's platform. But y'all here with Manager Marty, you know, we live and live in color this evening. So let's talk about some politics of boxing. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody that's joining us in the live. Salute and welcome to you. And salute and welcome to everyone who will be watching this live on the replay. So let's start with the Errol Spence Jr. versus Kieth Thurman. Now, before I continue, some of you may not know this. Most of you do. If this is not your first time joining this live, I always like to do a mic check to make sure my audio and visual is working properly so that everybody can hear me and everybody can see me, so that everybody can feel me, you know. And we're going to have a good show this evening. Already starting it off. Salute to my guy, Mr. Aaron H. Muhammad. Thanks for your contribution. Aaron Muhammad says, Manager Marty, it's a pleasure to be on your channel again to hear you share such valuable information and boxing knowledge. Thank you for your feedback and your contribution again, Mr. Muhammad. And I really appreciate that, because you started this live off very well, because later on this evening, we're going to address some people that really feel the same way you do, Mr. Muhammad, deep down in their soul, but their pride and some other reasons, unbeknownst to me, won't allow them to say the things that they feel openly, but instead they choose to throw shots at me and insult me. We're going to address those haters in the latter portion of this live. And I'm not going to give them too much credence or too much free promotion, but I wanted to send a small little message to them. So I appreciate you again, Mr. Aaron H. Muhammad. Somebody's asking me about making it louder. I'm not loud enough, y'all. Do I need to project my voice? Is it the microphone? Talk to me. Give me a mic check. Somebody give me let me know if y'all can see me clearly. You know, let me know if the microphone is working properly. Talk to me. Talk to me. Let me know what's up, because we about to start cooking this evening. Got the backdrop. Y'all see the backdrop? Got the backdrop. You know what I mean? Had to pull the green screen out. Hope my head ain't cutting off too much. The top of my head. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody in the chat. Y'all know the link is right in the chat. So you know anybody, anybody, feel free to tap that link and come on in. But let's get to cooking now. So let's start with the Errol Spence Jr. and Kieth Thurman fight. Now I want to ask a question because you know a lot of people have been speculating, so to speak, that Errol Spence Jr. is going to fight Kieth Thurman at 154 pounds, meaning that Spence and Thurman are both going to move up to another weight division. Now, we're talking about the politics of boxing now, right? So the thing I have an issue with relative to the politics of boxing is I heard and saw reports from all of these other different social and national media outlets and sports outlets regarding this fight happening at 154, but I haven't heard anybody that represents PBC or Kelly Swanson, who is the publicist that the PBC executives usually hire to make press releases and press conferences of upcoming fights. That's usually what happened. I haven't heard anybody from PBC yet or representative of PBC publicly acknowledge that this fight between Spence and Thurman is happening at 154. So the thing is that we have to talk about that. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen at 154. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that PBC hasn't announced it officially yet. And right now, it's just all speculation. All right. Salute to Carl Brown, another supporter of the channel. Thank you for your contribution, Carl Brown. And Carl, I got to read your comment aloud. You say these words: I love it over here because it's like a class for the sport of boxing. And that say a lot about you, bro. Real talk. Thank you so much, Carl Brown, because a lot of people forgot why I started my YouTube channel here in the first place. You know, it's all about empowering and educating all of the boxing fans and the boxing community with regards to the business of boxing. And I'm one of the ones on YouTube as a quote unquote content creator who's actively involved in the business, that is not afraid to show my face and put all of my credentials on the line to be able to give you all the real truth of what goes on when it comes down to the business of boxing. And so I wanted to make sure, you know, I acknowledge you first and then clarify second my objective here on my channel. So once again, salute to you again, Mr. Carl Brown. Now, as you all know, I'm a rookie on this YouTube thing now. So y'all already know, y'all have been on here as great viewers, as great supporters, and as great subscribers of not just this channel, but all of the other channels here on the YouTube platform in the niche of boxing. So with that being said, you all know what the protocol is. Hit the like button. I encourage you, if you may, please hit the like button. You do not have to take your shoes off and dust your feet off when you come into my house. You don't have to ring the doorbell because the door is already unlocked and wide open for you to come in. Want to know why? Because I welcome you. I welcome you here. And I'm excited to be here tonight. Let's move right along. So I haven't heard anything from PBC's representation or PBC's representatives to basically confirm that the fight with Errol Spence and Kieth Thurman is happening at 154 pounds. Okay, I haven't heard it. And until I hear it from PBC, their representation or representatives, or at least their publicists, whom they usually utilize the services of Kelly Swanson, then I'm going to sit back and wait until I hear something from them. And I'm not saying that it's not going to happen at 154 or it's not supposed to happen at 154. I'm just telling you my stance, understanding the business of boxing. Okay? Now, before we continue with that, I have to ask a question for you in the chat and for you in the comment section who are going to watch this live on a replay. What is your definition of the politics of boxing? I hear so many people loosely use the words politics when they refer to boxing. So my question is, what is your definition of politics of boxing? How do you all define that? Somebody talk to me in the chat, on the comments. You can definitely comment below, but in the chat, since we live right now, how do you all define the politics of boxing? We keep hearing that word politics being associated with the sport of boxing. I've heard people say that are fans. I've heard so many people say that word politics who are content creators. I've heard other people say the word politics or associating the word politics with the sport of boxing that have never basically made a transaction in the business of boxing. So I want to know, what is the word politic in boxing mean? Somebody said politics equals promotional outfits, money. Okay. Someone else says sanctioning bodies. Someone else says money over everything else. I'm reading the chat, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew. Someone asked compensation. Yeah, what does the word politic means when we talk about the sport and business of boxing? We keep hearing the words loosely associated with each other. Just want to know what it means. You know, somebody said BS in the chat. Talk to me. Let's talk about this. I hear so many people keep talking about it, but I haven't really heard anyone define it yet. And so since this channel is about education and entertainment, we want to do a combination of both this evening, and we want to start with the politics of boxing regarding the Spence versus Thurman fight. And before that, I want to define the politics. What is that? Politics. Come on, y'all, talk to me. Those of you that are coming into the live, I encourage you to hit the like button. Come on in, relax, have a seat. You know, we're here together. We a boxing family tonight. So come on in. We got this good cookout going on this evening, and you are all welcome. Somebody said the relationship between boxing entities. Okay, all right. You know what? All of the answers that I just received in the chat, they're very legitimate. Very legitimate. Very, very, very legitimate. You know? Because I think once we start defining exactly what the politics of boxing mean, then we can start understanding how to decipher when something is quote unquote real and fake. Someone says the guys in suits. Someone else says conflict. Someone else says business, not who is the best. What does politics in boxing mean? What does that refer to when we associate that with the athletes, the professionals? When we associate those words with the promoters and the promotion companies and the networks. You know what I mean? So we got to see what it is first. We got to lay a solid foundation. You know, someone says the willingness to be open to the opinions of those who hold the money. Very legitimate answer. I got to support and salute my guy. Thank you for your contribution as always. Mr. Pragmatic, thank you so much. Mr. Pragmatic said, just showing my support to keep your channel going. I appreciate that, Mr. Pragmatic. Thank you so much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart because you have been a subscriber and a supporter of this channel since day one. You one of my day ones, Mr. Pragmatic. So I got to salute you and much love and respect to you and your family. God bless you. Thank you so much, man. And for all of you that are encouraged to make a contribution this evening, you can do so in the chat. You can do so through super thanks. You can do so with the super stickers. You can also do that through Cash App, okay, which we also have available. You know, if you want to make a contribution to this channel, I want to tell you up front that when I say that, right, because a lot of people have been giving me some bad press on that, some bad feedback on that. Let me share something with you. I'm not here to do this for fame. I'm not here to do this content for no money. I am doing this to provide an up close and personal experience of the business of boxing by providing education and entertainment for all of you. And for those of you who are encouraged and feel elated to contribute to the channel, I respect you all and I appreciate it because it's keeping the channel going and it's allowing me the opportunity with your contributions to enhance the audio and visual quality of the content, and plus to make sure that the content remains authentic. Okay, so I appreciate you all and I appreciate all of your support. And so let's see what we got here in the comment sections regarding the politics of boxing. Someone says boxing politics equals what Oscar is doing regarding the Tank Garcia fight, leaking information to the media to put pressure on opposing sides to gain a stronger position in negotiations. Someone else said in the chat, promoters stealing the efforts of the fighters. Guess what, y'all? Guess what? Everything that you all just heard me read aloud through the chat are legitimate with regards to the politics of boxing. In other words, there's no one answer. There's no one answer because there's so many elements involved in the business of boxing. So there's not just one answer. All of the answers and responses that I have read through the chat, right, has legitimacy to them. So now that we have defined what our perception of the politics of boxing or what the politics of boxing is and what it represents, that's why these three fights that we're going to talk about are extremely relevant. So let's start with Spence versus Thurman. Like I said before, for those of you that just joined this live, salute to you all and I welcome you. And those of you that are in the chat, salute to you all and I welcome you all. Thank you for your contribution to those that already contributed to this channel. Now, with regards to the Spence versus Thurman fight, like I said before in the beginning of this live, I personally never heard Kelly Swanson, who is the publicist that PBC executives usually hire to help conduct press releases and press conferences. I haven't heard her mention or her staff members or representation mention anything about this fight happening at 154. I haven't heard any of the PBC executives make a press release, a public statement through social media, through other fights, on Showbox or any of their other platforms. I haven't heard them mention anything about it yet. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm not saying that both parties are not in negotiations for the fight to happen or not in the 154-pound division. I'm just saying I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it, And so my thing is, if I haven't heard it from them, I can't just assume that just because all of the other reputable reporters and journalists, and I say reputable very respectfully because there are a lot of reputable boxing journalists that know exactly what they're talking about, who do have reliable sources. So I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying I haven't heard it from the people who's actively involved in making the fight happen through negotiations and through the fruition of sitting down and ironing out all the details with the networks. So I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but this is basically the foundation that I want to lay regarding the politics of boxing. You see what I'm saying? And it's good to put the information out there. If you are a journalist or a YouTuber, content creator, a reporter, when you have a reliable source, that's awesome. But we know that some people, whether they're content creators or not, whether they're reporters or not, whether they're journalists or not, we know that some people do not have reliable sources and they're putting out a lot of information that's not real, that's not true. We call it fake news. And then people start soaking it up, eating it up. And then they start repeating it and regurgitating it. And the whole time, it holds no weight. And so this is why I want to make sure we define what the politics of boxing really means so that we can lay a foundation of how to be on the same page as fans of the sport of boxing. So, like I said, I haven't heard it from the people who we need to hear it from. And if any of you in the chat heard it, if any of you in the comment section heard it, I respect that you reply to that. Let us know that you heard something, that you have a reliable source. You know what I mean? That this fight is really happening between Spence and Thurman at 154 pounds. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to Mr. AMG. Thank you for your contribution. Mr. AMG says, thank you for your contribution to the YouTube boxing community. You are absolutely welcome, Mr. AMG. And I thank you again for your feedback. And I appreciate your support to the channel. And I'm always going to make sure that all of my subscribers and all my viewers get the real information. I don't believe in fake news. I don't produce or publish fake news. And I dare anybody to challenge that anything I say is fake when I have the receipts. I try to make sure I speak on things publicly when I have receipts, because like I told y'all before, when I did that first or second interview with YSM Sports Media, I told y'all before when I was a kid growing up, my mom used to always enforce me and my siblings to do our homework right after school. And I didn't like that. So as I became an adult, I realized the significance and the value of doing my homework. And I love doing homework. And so, I want to make sure I produce real news. But I got to do my research and my homework first. So based on the research I conducted, I haven't heard anything. And so I'm not going to speak on whether the Spence and Thurman fight is going to happen at 154 because I haven't heard any reliable sources from the PBC side speak on that. And with that being said, based on everyone's responses regarding the politics of boxing, right? We got to realize one thing, and that is if the fight happens between Spence and Thurman, why isn't it happening at 147 pounds? That becomes the question when we talk about the politics of boxing. Why is it not happening at 147? Because to all of our understanding, Keith one-time Thurman beat Mario Barrios, right? And he beat him in a WBC title eliminator. So technically speaking, right, he should be competing against the WBC champion, which is Errol Spence, in the welterweight division for the title, right? So now we got to ask ourselves, why is this fight happening at 154 without the belts being on the line for Keith Thurman to be able to get his just due, since he did win a title eliminator against Mario Barrios? You know, Mario Barrios, the same guy, I believe, that Tank Davis knocked out, what, a year or two before fighting Keith Thurman? Yeah, him. That's what I'm talking about. Since we're talking about the politics of boxing, right? So that's what I want to deal with. Why do y'all think this fight is happening at 154, if it does happen at 154, opposed to it happening at 147 pounds, when Keith Thurman earned the opportunity, right, to fight and compete against the WBC champion, Errol Spence? Because we already know if both of these competitors and great athletes move up to 154, the belts will not be on the line. That WBC title cannot be on the line because Spence is not the super middleweight, the super welterweight or junior middleweight WBC champ of the world. So since we're talking about the politics of boxing, what's up with that? What's up with that? Why this fight not happening at 147 if it's happening at 154? Can someone tell me in the chat? Can someone tell me in the comment section, since we're talking about the politics of boxing? Omega Red says, because Errol is a boss. Sound like a good answer to me. Errol Spence is a boss, and not even Terrence Bud Crawford can deny that, which Terrence Crawford did deny that. But I've already showed y'all on my channel through previous content that I published the difference between being a boss and being a free agent. Okay, so I would have to agree, Errol Spence is definitely a boss. Anybody else? Come on, y'all, talk to me now. We live. We at the cookout. For those of you that are just joining me, I see the viewership increasing exponentially. I see you. So I welcome you in. Come on in. Yes, come on in. I welcome you. You do not have to take your shoes off when you come to my house. You don't have to dust your feet off when you come in my house. You don't even have to ring the doorbell when you come in my house. Wonder why? The door already unlocked and it's already open because I welcome you. Come on in. Yes. I see you in the chat all the way from Detroit, Michigan, representing the channel. I support you and I salute you in the chat. Thank you. Come on now, talk to me now. Now, somebody's telling me here that it's multiple reasons why it's at 154 instead of 147. But I think he also wants to slow Keith down and not give him a chance at getting the belt. Now, yes, we've heard that perspective as well, because we know back then when Keith Thurman was the champion, right? He allegedly would not give Errol Spence the opportunity, right, to compete against him to win the title. So now some people in the public or in the boxing community as fans and viewers and subscribers believe that, Errol Spence is basically retaliating against Thurman by not allowing him the opportunity to win the title or even compete for the title at the bare minimum, because this is what Spence felt like Thurman was doing to him. Okay. And so, we talk about the politics of boxing, and I see somebody in the chat basically saying that Jose Sulaiman, which is Mauricio Sulaiman's son, the president of the WBC, changed the rules for Canelo when it came to the franchise belt, but he changed the rules for a brother this time for Spence. So, well, I'm not sure if he actually changed the rules because the belt is not on the line. But we do know that out of Jose Suleiman's own mouth in an interview, he actually stated that the WBC will sanction the fight between Spence and Thurman, even at 154. And that's because Spence has an obligation, right, to the WBC. And what is the obligation? Is basically two words: sanctioning fees. Because he's holding and representing the title. So they could actually impose the sanctioning fee every time him being the champion, Spence, competes. Okay? Salute to you all in the chat. Salute to you all that's acknowledging me in the chat. All right? And so we wanted to talk about the business of boxing with regards to politics, right? So we see that the quote unquote politics of boxing is rearing its head with regards to Spence versus Thurman, especially if they fight at 154 pounds, because the title was not on the line, even though Kieth Thurman won the opportunity against Mario Barrios in a title eliminator for the WBC to be able to compete for the WBC title. Okay? Salute to you all in the chat. I see y'all saluting me. Salute to y'all. I see you acknowledging me. Thank you. I welcome you all. Come on in and have a seat. We at the family cookout. Come on in. Come on in. Yes, come on in. So, that's our take on Errol Spence versus Thurman with regards to the politics in boxing. Let me remind you all that the link is in the chat. Yes, the link is in the chat for anybody that want to join. This is not a challenge to debate anyone, but I'm just saying if someone wants to join the live to speak to me regarding the politics of boxing, ask me any questions regarding the politics of boxing, feel free to join us. Yes. And so, we got to understand that there are certain advantages, right, that fighters have at the weight. We already know that Thurman already showed us that he kind of struggles with the weight. But Spence already told us that he don't want to stay at 147 for too long because he's getting older, right? A lot of these athletes, they drain themselves, literally, and, they walk around 20 to 30 pounds north of the weight class that they're actually competing in. And so in training camp, the first thing that most of these fighters have to do is fight the weight before they even start training on their tactical and technical skills and improvements, right? And so it could be a weight differential, a weight differential between Thurman and Spence, and it's a way to even the playing field with regards to the weight. That's one perspective to look at this, right? So the thing about it is this. We got to make sure that we understand the politics of boxing so we can understand the holistic picture of what's happening behind the scenes, right? Now, I recently published an interview, or at least a small segment of the interview I did with Stephen Breadman Edwards, the head trainer of Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, right? And him and I discussed another form of politics in the sport of boxing. And when I say politics, I'm talking about how the testing protocol is enforced or the lack thereof. And I'm talking about the testing for specific performance enhancing drugs. And so we got to deal with what's real. I know that most people don't want to talk about steroid use in the sport of boxing. I know some people want to shy away from that, but we got to keep it all the way 100. There is a lot of performance enhancing or enhancement drugs being utilized by some athletes in this sport. You'd have to take my word for it. Y'all better not make me roll the tape now. But I'm not going to roll the tape on the people that got caught in the past and in the present. But I'm just saying it's literally happening. And it's more widespread than it's being advertised and published. Okay? And speaking of that, that segued me into the interview that I did with Breadman, right? And him and I talked about the fact that Caleb Plant and David Benavidez will be being tested through VADA. And VADA will administer Olympic-style random urine and blood tests. Okay? Now, it's interesting to me that David Benavidez, this is public record, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, that David Benavidez hired Memo Heredia, Angel Memo Heredia. His name might be Memo or Memo. Y'all can Google him. Okay? He was a part of the Balco scandal as well as a steroid dealer, okay, to a lot of the athletes that perform in the Olympics, okay, including Marion Jones, who had to relinquish her medals that she won while she was on PEDs, right? And I think she did some jail time too. Don't quote me on that. But the founder of Balco, who is the new founder of SNAC, Victor Conte, who did jail time as well for his involvement in him being the mastermind in manufacturing, selling, and dealing PEDs and steroids to baseball athletes, cyclists, and boxers. Okay? Now, with that being said, though, a lot of people in the boxing community, mainly fans and subscribers on YouTube all across the platforms in the boxing community, have made some accusations against Caleb Plant too, because they saw how Caleb Plant literally knocked Anthony Durrell out in his last fight. In fact, I was at that fight live in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. I was there. I saw it live with my own eyes. It was a good combination. Left to the body, bang, bang. And then the left, right to the chin. And it was night-night or good night, Irene, for Durrell. And so a lot of people start asking the question of, where did Caleb Plant get this power from? And one person in particular start asking that question directly in an interview he did. That's right. I'm talking about David Benavidez's father, Jose Benavidez Sr. Some of y'all may not have heard that interview that he did. I think that was a month ago or so, or something like that. He did an interview, basically, he was basically indirectly accusing Caleb Plant of being on quote unquote something. Okay. He didn't actually say the actual term of banned substance, but he was insinuating that Caleb Plant all of a sudden had this big punching power that he didn't have in the past. And so there's a lot of controversy swirling around both of these fighters. And the reason why, I asked the trainer, Breadman, about VADA testing is because of the controversy brewing around both fighters, but mainly because David Benavidez, who's been telling everybody he's going to knock out Plant and he's going to knock out everybody else that come his way, he's basically very confident that he's going to end all his fights in knockouts, right? And he hired a guy who is known to be not just a dealer of PEDs and steroids, but he's also known to beat the system by circumventing the tests, right? right? And Victor Conte, right? He made a statement on his Twitter account where he basically was throwing shots at Heredia and basically alerting the public, if you will, that David Benavidez hired Memo and that he's highly suspicious because there are banned substances that if a smart cheater, Victor's words, not mine, a smart cheater who understands not just the process of the test that's being administered, but also understand how to circumvent the test, knows how to cheat more undetectably. And so now there's controversy surrounding this. This is a part of the definition of politics in boxing. Right? Listen, let me explain something to you all. If you don't know this by now, some of you, that, it's not free to administer these tests. I think, don't quote me on the price, but I think it's upward of about $30,000 per athlete for like VADA to be able to administer, these strenuous Olympic style random urine and blood testing. All right. And remember, right? Floyd Mayweather blew the lid off of, so many fighters secretly taking performance enhancing drugs because look, what did Floyd do? What did he do, y'all? Y'all remember? He put it all in writing. Every fighter that was to compete with Floyd Mayweather while he was still in the rankings would have to agree to undergo USADA testing. Y'all remember that? Remember when he signed that 6-fight deal with Showtime? That's when he started activating it because of his beef with Manny Pacquiao not wanting to take the test. Now, why did I bring up Manny Pacquiao? Why did I bring up PEDs with regards to Manny Pacquiao? Why did I bring up anything regarding the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao situation about that? Because that was a real life scenario. Look, Pacquiao, with the help of an American former prosecutor, top-ranked president and CEO Bob Arum, helped him file a lawsuit for defamation of character against Mayweather. Y'all remember that? Because Mayweather basically was questioning why Pacquiao would not agree to take Olympic-style random blood and urine testing. That's what made the fight happen nearly 5 years later after everybody was waiting for it. Okay? So my thing is, with regards to that Pacquiao situation, is because there's another man whose name was surrounded in controversy with steroids and PEDs. Y'all remember him? Y'all remember him, right? Alex Ariza. Remember him? He was in Pacquiao's corner. All the times Pacquiao was running through fighters. Right? Y'all remember that? Okay. Remember when, Google this now. I got receipts. But if y'all don't believe me, y'all can Google it. Remember when Manny Pacquiao, I think this was in 2013 or 14, Manny Pacquiao, who always had Alex Ariza in his corner, right? While he was at the height of his career, knocking everybody out, breaking eye sockets, running through bigger fighters, having all this strength and just dominating everybody, knocking down Sugar Shane Mosley in the second round of their fight or the first round. Remember that? Yeah. Well, Alex Ariza was in Pacquiao's camp all this time. And then I think 2013 or 14, right? Pacquiao was scheduled to fight Brandon Bam Bam Rios. And at this time, Alex Ariza and Freddie Roach had a public beef. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all go in, your homework like I do, right? Now, in this public beef, that is what basically made them part ways, right? Because remember, Freddie Roach was Pacquiao's trainer. And Freddie Roach is the one who hired Alex Ariza and gave him his shot as the strength and conditioning coach with Pacquiao, right? It's time to go to school, y'all. Class is in session. Now, Alex Ariza doesn't have a job at this point with Pacquiao anymore. And so guess what Brandon Bam Bam Rios does? He hires Alex Ariza. And when Brandon Rios hires Alex Ariza, who was going to now be in his camp as the strength and conditioning coach against Pacquiao, guess what Pacquiao's camp does? Do your research now. You don't believe me, do your homework. They request that Brandon Bam Bam Rios get Olympic-style testing administered. Remember that? And guess what happened, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew? Guess what happened when Brandon Rios took the Olympic-style random blood and urine test with Alex Ariza in his camp? You guessed it, he failed. We're talking about the politics of boxing, right? He failed the test. Now, it's strange to me, and I said this over 10, 11 years ago. Why would Pacquiao's camp ask for Brandon Rios to get tested all because Alex Ariza was in his camp as the strength and conditioning coach, and then coincidentally, Rios failed the test. Now, why am I bringing up Alex Ariza? Well, y'all remember when David Benavidez, when he fought, what's this guy's name? He was a part of Mayweather's promotions. This guy, Gavru? I think his name is Richard Gavru, right? They fought twice. Y'all remember that? This was a couple years ago. What is this? 2000, I think it was like 15 or 16, right? But they fought. And guess what happened? David Benavidez had some trouble with that boy Gavru. Some of y'all remember that? Come on in the chat. Come on in the chat and talk to me. In the comment section below, if you're watching this live in the replay, come on and talk to me. I welcome you. If you are a woman and you are watching this channel, I want to let you know that I salute you and I welcome you. Because, you know, listen now, I'm checking my analytics now. And the viewership from women is increasing. And I want to acknowledge the women because there is women's boxing as well in this sport. And we got to help salute women that are not just boxers, right, and athletes, but we have to salute the women that's supporting the sport, y'all. So that's why I wanted to always, every chance I get, publicly salute to women and make sure that I acknowledge you all. Someone just sent me a Cash App and I wanted to acknowledge them real quick. Salute to you, Incel. Thank you for your Cash App. Thank you for your contribution and your support and feedback to the channel. Oh, and Incel, you asked me a question. Did Terrence Crawford duck Errol Spence? Let me show somebody this because you know somebody's going to come back and criticize Manager Marty for saying something true and factual about Bud Crawford. Let me show y'all. Can y'all see this? This is a question that was asked. You know I got the roll of tape when I can. Can y'all see that? Oh man, this joint acting funny on me. Well, anyway, y'all know at this point I'm gonna always be honest with y'all. I'm never gonna lie to y'all. I'm trying to see if I can show y'all I think because I got this green screen in the back. I don't know if y'all can see the question. Well, anyway, I know most of y'all believe me. But anyway, let me get back to my point, right? Gavril, that's him. That's who I was talking about. Yeah, I'm sharp. I'm sharp. I know what's going on. Gavril, when Benavidez fought him the first time, y'all remember him when he fought Benavidez? That boy was giving Benavidez some work. He was giving Benavidez some trouble in that fight, right? Salute to everybody in the chat. I see y'all acknowledging me. Salute. Yes. And the women are definitely doing their thing in boxing. Oh, yes. So y'all remember when he fought, oh, hold on. I had to pull it up. His name is not Richard Gavril, y'all. My apologies. His name is Ronald Gavril. I knew it started with an R, though, right? And it was in 2017. I said 16, so I was close. 2016 in that first fight. And Benavidez won that by a split decision, which I had Benavidez losing to Gavril. Now, when Gavril fought Benavidez the second time. Oh, I love teaching so much. Benavidez had Alex Ariza in his corner on the apron. Y'all remember that? As a strength and conditioning coach. And you see the difference of how Benavidez performed the first time when he fought Gavril without Alex Ariza in his corner, and then the second time he fought Gavril when he had Ariza in his corner. I'm not implying anything. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just telling y'all these are the observations that I've been making over the years since we're talking about the politics of boxing. Now, because I was just gifted with the contribution that was made, as y'all just heard me speak on, by Incel on Cash App, I must answer the question. Did Terrence Crawford duck Errol Spence? Absolutely. Yes, he did. And I'm going to say this since we're talking about the politics of boxing. It was not the politics of boxing that prevented Crawford from signing the contract to fight Spence. Since we are talking about politics of boxing. Okay? Now, someone said this. Shavard Hall said this. Manager Marty, you should have been a detective. You know, most of my friends say in another life I'd be an attorney or detective. You know, and there's certain women that I've dated in the past that tried to get over on Manager Marty. You know, tried to gaslight Manager Marty. Tried to use certain tactics to get over on Manager Marty. And because I know how to do my homework and research, and I learned over the years how to recognize behavior patterns. Unfortunately for them, they didn't last. But the bottom is that yes, I can still be a detective. And yes, I can still be an attorney, because in Conquest 2 in the chat says it's never too late. And you're absolutely correct. Now, I really don't have any desires to invest a lot of time in doing that. But I will say this. When it comes to this boxing, I know this. I know this. When it comes to business, not just business, y'all, business, I know business. And so because I know both, I like to educate y'all, because I love doing homework and then I love showing receipts. And so what I'm basically getting at is there's a lot of PED and steroid use in the business of boxing. But because of the politics, people sweep it under the rug. And so now we're going to make light of it because we want to advocate for a clean sport. right or wrong. Right. Anybody that want to come on the live, including the hater, I'm encouraging you. I give you, if you a hater of Manager Marty, I'm going to give you 15 minutes of fame. It ain't going to be no 15 minutes in real time, but that's what I'm calling it. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people in the comment section. I've been seeing and hearing and getting screenshots and all these messages from fans going on other people's platform, throwing shots at Manager Marty. But y'all know I don't care about what people say about me because I love publicity and I'm controversial. Y'all know that. So it's okay. But if you want to join the chat, if you want to join this live, you can. But we got to keep it on boxing now. We're not going to make this personal. I'm a businessman. We're not going to make this personal. This is about boxing. This ain't about Manager Marty. This is about boxing. So we're going to keep it on boxing. And the topic tonight is the politics of boxing. So when you come to check, come correct. Because I'm going to always be correct and respectful to you all as well. Now, someone asked me in the chat, can I explain how and why Crawford ducked Spence? Well, only Crawford knows the real reason why. I can't give you the why. But I can give you a little bit of the how. And it's very simple, y'all. And, you know, we're talking about the politics of boxing, right? And people always try to attribute the politics of boxing to situations that don't have nothing to do with the politics of boxing when fighters don't want to fight each other, right? So I want to dispel that myth that it's not always the politics of boxing when fights don't occur. I have been in this business and I've seen fighters personally tell me to my face, Manager Marty, I don't want to fight him, but I'm telling you, you can beat him. I know, but I don't want to fight him. What you want the manager to do? Manager can't force nobody's signature or John Hancock or no bout agreement. Now, since I was asked that in the chat, I will oblige it since we're talking about the politics of boxing. Terrence Bud Crawford, how he ducked Spence is because he was offered 3 different contracts and he didn't sign none of them. But yet he kept saying he agreed to everything. Y'all see how simple that was? We ain't got to go no further. You want me to go further? Absolutely, I will. Everybody else in the business and sport of boxing, particularly athletes, when they win a fight in their hometown, right? And they actually have another fighter on their radar, and they're asked about that fighter in particular in the ring right after they fight. Who do you want to fight next? Most boxers, 90% of the time, say, I want this person next, right? Remember, I pointed that out when I did an interview months and months ago over the summertime on YSM Sports Media. Remember, I told y'all that when Errol Spence, remember, when he wanted to fight Sean Porter, what did he do? He met Sean Porter in the ring after Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia for the WBC title. And what did he say? Porter, I want to fight you next. Those brothers, those fighters, those athletes, they shook hands, and guess what happened? Fight happened next. When Juan Manuel Marquez beat the baby bull Juan Diaz, remember he knocked him out in that first fight? They said, who you want to fight next? Or was he the first or second fight? They said, Marquez, who you want to fight next? He said, I want to fight Floyd Mayweather next. Floyd Mayweather was out on retirement at that point. And Floyd Mayweather said, oh, he calling me out? Perfect way for me to come out of retirement and fight a Mexican. And what happened? The fight happened next. When Spence fought Porter for the WBC title, remember that? Danny Garcia got in the ring, and guess what happened? He told Spence, I want to fight you next. And guess what happened? They fought next, even after Errol Spence's unfortunate car accident. Remember that? Okay. Remember when Errol Spence fought Mikey Garcia in his hometown in Texas? Y'all remember that? Manny Pacquiao was standing in the ring. He said, come on over here, Manny. Come on over here. And he told Manny Pacquiao to his face, I want to fight you next. And that fight was about to happen next until Spence fell the pre-fight physical, right? And discovered that he had a torn retina and then he had to get surgery, right? So, remember when Terrence Bud Crawford was in his hometown of Nebraska after he finished knocking out David Benavidez? And you remember he was asked, everybody wants to know, is Errol Spence next? Is he going to be your next fight? And what did Terrence Bud Crawford say? You know how, you know what I mean? We got, I go back to, yeah, cause, we don't, we don't know what the future holds because, drawing board, we got to go back to that, the drawing board. Look, things happen. Hey, y'all know how it is. He said everything except for saying, yes, I want to fight Spence next. And he probably was in front of his 8th grade, 9th grade teacher out there. He was in front of his mom, his kids, and everybody. In front of his hometown. And he never said anything about fighting Spence next. Y'all remember that? Or what about when Danny Garcia was in my hometown of Philadelphia and I was at that fight after he finished knocking out Sammy Vargas? I showed y'all this on my channel. It's a video on the platform. Y'all can go and check it out, right? And Kieth Thurman got in the ring. And Danny Garcia asked the crowd, if y'all want me to whoop Kieth Thurman's blank, say blank. And everybody in the crowd, including me, we all yelled out, yeah, let's have it. We want you to fight him next. And guess what happened, y'all? The fight happened next. You see? So let's stop blaming the politics of boxing all because Crawford ducked Spence. We got to keep it all the way on. You got to keep it on. And I know that content creators that agree with Crawford may not like what I'm saying, and I'm okay with that. But we got to be honest and call a spade, because this is the standard of how boxers call each other out, especially when they're in their hometown. And Terrence Bud Crawford did not do that. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure I answered that question since we are talking about the politics of boxing. TD says he told us here in Omaha that he just wants to fight whoever it is to unify the welterweight division. He didn't care who that is. Okay, TD. I'm not denying that he told you that in Omaha, but his actions and his words didn't match up. Okay? He told y'all that in Omaha, TD, right? Out of his mouth. But when it was time to produce with his actions, they were not congruent. So I got to go by his actions and not just his words. And I appreciate your feedback in the chat. Now, let's move right along since we're still talking about the politics of boxing. And TD, if you want, since it seems like you are a Terrence Bud fan, or if it sounds like you are from Nebraska, since you said he told us in Omaha, if you want to join to have a dialogue, a small, short dialogue over the matter of Terrence Bud Crawford, you can do so. The link is definitely in the chat. Since we are talking about the politics of boxing. Okay? Now, Incel, thank you for your response in the chat. The same Incel that just donated to the channel through Cash App says, I am a Terrence Crawford fan. Thank you for your honest response. I appreciate you. You're actually, Incel, I salute you right now. You're one of the, I don't know, probably one of the only Terrence Bud Crawford fans who publicly acknowledged that you were a Terrence Bud Crawford fan and took what I said as a real, genuine response opposed to me hating on Crawford. So I salute you for that. Thank you. You know, so now we got to deal with what's real. Okay? We're talking about the politics of boxing. Now, speaking of politics, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, you know there's politics in every business. There's politics even on YouTube. Y'all know that, right? Yeah, there's politics on this YouTube. There's politics on the way that YouTubers act, the way shot content, the content creator in subliminal shots at other content creators, right? That's all politics. You see? So we got to deal with the truth. We got to deal with what's real and understand that there's politics in everything that we do. It could be good politics or it can be bad politics. But I was referring to bad politics when I was referring to the business of boxing on this particular live. And then, of course, when I'm talking about one content creator to another content creator, or when I'm talking about viewers and subscribers, right? Throwing shots and digs at the content creators in the content creators' comment section. So all of that has a lot to do with politics. Because if you really, really think about it, when you unscrew the nuts and bolts of it, you'll discover that at least one of the parties involved, wants some form of attention. Right? Now, I was accused recently, not rehashing nothing, but I was accused in my little recent situation with another content creator where people were saying I was clout chasing, that I was trying to get my views up, that I was just only saying something about this other content creator because I was trying to build my channel. I was trying to build my channel off of someone else's name, someone else's image, someone else's grind, someone else's likeness. But you know, one thing I love about the viewers, one thing I love about you subscribers, one thing I love about you all in the chat, y'all know truth when you hear it. I tell my children this all the time. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Don't lie to nobody, especially don't you lie to your father. Here's the thing about the truth. And God has spiritually injected this trait in every human being. It's called discernment. Now, it takes a lot of practice and wisdom, experience to learn how to cultivate that discernment, right? But we all as humans have a sense of discernment. What does that mean? That means when you hear something, your senses inside of you recognize when it's true. As soon as we hear truth, we know it is real. As soon as we hear a lie, we have to question it. We might believe it at first, but later on we start to question it. We start to second guess it. That's how you know when it's a lie. When you hear the truth, even if you don't accept it and acknowledge it right then and there, you know it's real. So there's a statement that we all make in society: real recognize real, right? But I always tell people that is true now. But real recognize fake too. You know how you go to the store? I made this analogy in a few lives ago. Probably was the last one. You know how you go to the store? You can hand the cashier, let's say a $50 bill, right? And the cashier who is trained to handle money, right, will put that $50 bill in the air. Why? Because that cashier recognizes the difference between a real $50 bill and a counterfeit $50 bill. And so that's the form of discernment that cashier is displaying. And so when you hear something, you know it's true. You might not believe it. You might not agree with it. You might not even accept it. But we all have a sense and form of discernment that's built in us as humans, that as soon as we hear something that's true, we know it's real. And as soon as we hear a lie, it might sound like it's true now. Don't get it twisted now. But as soon as we walk away, later on, events are going to occur to let you see, this person lied. All right. So no, we're not in church, but I just wanted to say that because I think that all of you that's viewing me right now live and that's going to be viewing the replay of this live, that everything that I said out of my mouth to y'all is true. Whether it be about the other content creator, whether it be about my credentials in this business, whether it be about anything that I ever said to y'all know it's true. And guess what? The people that's fake, they know it's true too. That's why they don't want to deal with the real. They don't want to deal with the real. Okay? And so now since we're still talking about politics, right? I must bring this up before we get to our next fight. I got to bring this up, y'all. I wasn't going to say nothing about it because I don't want to give this person press. And I'm not talking about another content creator. Let me be clear. I am not talking about another content creator. I'm talking about a viewer, a subscriber, as you will, that went on the other content creator's channel last week. And they had some disparaging remarks about Manager Marty. And I wanted to play it on the screen so that we all can be on the same page this evening, since we're talking about politics and boxing. Okay, and I want to read it out loud, if you will. I want to read it out loud. Boy, oh boy. This guy, Manager Marty, is a clown. He has a channel. Just talk bad about the next man. Talk bad about Crawford. Talk bad about you instead of uplifting. Makes no sense. I think he's obsessed. Since we're talking about politics tonight, and since we're talking about boxing tonight, I think it's relevant to discuss the politics on YouTube. We got to discuss the politics on YouTube, y'all. Anytime someone's calling another person a clown, when they don't even have proof or receipts to solidify their accusation, that's a form of politics. Because the question becomes, what is your motive of going on the other content creator's channel to tell that man that? For what? What is the point? What was the purpose? I mean, I don't really want to know the answer. It's all rhetorical. But for what? When all you got to do is come on Manager Marty's channel and just say that. If that's how you really feel. Right? And listen, I'm okay if that's how this person really feels. It's okay with me. I'm all right with it. Since we're talking about politics, this is a form of politics that's taking place. Because something had to occur for this person to come out of the blue to say this guy, Manager Marty, is a clown. Now, I'm not rehashing nothing because apparently certain people don't want to deal with what's real when it comes to me. So I'm not rehashing nothing. That's not an indirect shot. Y'all are subscribers and viewers of this channel. You know I don't do none of that indirect. I don't do no sneak diss. Y'all know that by now. So this is not a sneak diss or indirect shot at the content creator that you see on this screen. I'm just using this as an example that this person went on the other content creator's channel. I would assume that this person is a subscriber or a viewer or supporter of the other content creator. And basically, something happened to trigger that person to say what they said. And once again, that's a form of politics, y'all. So that's all I'm basically saying. Okay? Yeah. You can't call somebody a clown and not have no proof now. You got to bring up the evidence. You're going to call me a clown, you got to bring the proof up. You got to bring evidence if you want people to believe you, if you want to be credible. You know? So my thing is, we got to deal with what was real. That's what we got to deal with. We got to deal with what's real. We got to deal with what's real. I don't care if people call me a clown. I don't care about none of that. I don't care if people say, oh, you obsessed. And listen, that just to even say that is weird. To say that. It's out of bounds to say it. I don't have to prove my manhood or, try to convince men that I'm not obsessed with other men. Where we do that at, y'all? Come on. But once again, that's politics. That's politics of boxing on YouTube. Every woman knows what it is when it comes to me, whether it be on YouTube or not. I'm just saying, I don't have to prove that I'm obsessed with no man. That's come on. But this is what happens when we deal with politics and not what's real. Okay? And so I wanted to show that to let people know that politics doesn't just start and stop in the sport of boxing. It translates even into YouTube. From a fan perspective, from a content creator perspective, etc. Since we're talking about the politics of boxing, right? Anybody else have some questions? Listen, the link is in the chat if you want to join. Come and holler at your boy. We at a cookout. We at the family barbecue. We at the family barbecue. Let's talk about it. I'm not talking about what I just posted. We don't have to talk about that. If y'all want to talk about that too, we can do that too. I'm cool with it. We're here now. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss the matter in its entirety. Okay? Let's talk about some politics. Now, we talked about Spence and Thurman. Politics, right? Moving up to 154, even though we haven't heard anything from PBC, Kelly Swanson, the publicist, or anybody else that represents that promotional company or the network like Steven Espinosa. We haven't heard anything about that fight happening at 154. Once again, politics of boxing. We talked about Plant versus Benavidez, right? And we talked about the controversy surrounding steroids and PEDs. We talked about that. And the VADA testing that's going to be administered for the fight, right? Politics. So we talked about those things. And now we're about to talk about another fight with regards to politics. And that is the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. First and foremost, I want to know from you all in the chat and in the comments section, right? What's happening with this fight? What's going on, y'all? Let me put my glasses on so I can stop squinting. What's going on? What's going on with this fight, y'all? What's up? What's going on with this Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight? Talk to me. What's going on? We're hearing things, y'all. We're hearing things. We're hearing things from Oscar De La Hoya, right? He goes on Twitter, and he's already planting seeds of doubt that if this fight doesn't happen, it's PBC's fault by fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line. His words, not mine, right? So we got to see what's really going on. We're hearing things from reporters, journalists, YouTubers. Talk to me in the chat. What's going on since we're talking about the politics of boxing? Come on, talk to me in the chat now. If y'all want if you want your questions highlighted, we already know what we have to do. We have to support the channel now. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do. I will gladly highlight your question or your comment when y'all support the channel by contributing to the channel. Come on, you all have been on YouTube longer than me. So I don't have to say it, because if I say something about money, or if I say something about saluting to those that contribute, people have been commenting, not in the chat tonight, but just in general, that it's wrong for me to salute people that give. It's wrong for me to mention anything about money. I should just keep doing my lives and don't mention anything about it. But this whole thing about supporting the channel requires contributions. We all know that. So this is not a form of me just begging for no money. Let's be clear here, y'all. I just want everybody to be on the same page here. I appreciate and salute everybody that contribute and donate to this channel and even support the channel, even if you don't give. And I'm not going to stop doing that because people don't want to hear me salute y'all. Okay? I wanted to put that out there. So what's going on with this fight with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia? Let's talk about it, because I have a mouthful. Since we're talking about the politics of boxing, I got a mouthful. And what I'm going to say, you may have never heard it on another content creator's channel, because I have a different perspective. And so this is why it's great that we have different content creators' channels and perspective, so we can put them all together, right? And we all can be on the same page. We don't all have to agree. So bam, let's deal with what is real. Okay? Somebody just asked me a question. I think they're asking me a question in the chat. I'm trying to see what it says, but it's moving too fast. Talk to me, y'all. I see people in the chat talking about A side, B side. I think that says A side. Yeah, A side. Right? Let me say something about A side, B side. You probably have never heard this on YouTube, but you're going to hear it tonight, because it's all about education. On the night of the event, listen and hear me good if you can, okay? On the night of a boxing event, there is no such thing as A side and B side. That's not how fighters are identified. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. On the night of a boxing event, there's no such thing as A side and B side, because that's not how the boxers are identified. They're identified by colors: red corner and blue corner. Okay? And when both fighters enter the ring, they usually go to their respective corners that they already are aware of prior to them even coming out of the dressing room, right? And so this is why I said this on my live, I believe, when I did the Baumgartner commentary. Remember when she fought Alicia? When she fought, what was that, last weekend? And I was going to say it tonight because I want to educate you all. So most of the time, about 90% of the time, right, when you are watching athletes and boxers compete in the ring, just look at the wrist area of their boxing gloves, right? And you'll see that there's red tape, usually 90% of the time, red tape wrapped around both wrist areas of the gloves of the fighter in the red corner, and then the blue tape is wrapped around both of the wrist areas of the gloves of the fighter that's competing in the blue corner. So on the night of the actual event, there is no A side and B side that boxers are identified by. There's red corner and there's blue corner. Okay? And the judges that will be officiating, right, the fight, that particular fight, they do have the boxers' names written on their scorecards. But right underneath the names, it is red corner and blue corner to identify each fighter. And so it helps the judges and the supervisors, right, identify red corner, right, based on the color of their tape, and blue corner, right? In most dressing rooms, most of you may not know this, you have the blue corner dressing room where all of the fighters that's going to come out in the blue corner will be in the dressing room. It's a big room. I'm not talking about the personal dressing room of like the main event fighters, depending on the venue, right? Depending on the venue, especially at the local shows, right? And then you'll have another dressing room with all the fighters that's coming out competing in the red corner. And all the fighters that will be in the red corner will be in that big area, big room. All right. I just wanted to educate you on so you can understand when we talk about A side, B side, since we're talking about politics. Now, let's get to the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis A side, B side scenario, right? Because how many of you all in the chat, just say yes or no, believe that Tank Davis is the quote unquote A side over Ryan Garcia? Just say yes or no. Is Ryan Garcia the A side or B side? Let me just reframe that. Is Ryan Garcia the A side and the B side versus Tank Davis? Just put A or B. If you think Ryan Garcia is the A side, just put it A in the chat or the comment section. If you think Tank Davis is the A side or the B side, y'all can say A or B and put his name. But either way, I'm really referring to Garcia because I want to tackle this whole rematch clause situation from Ryan Garcia's standpoint. So Ryan Garcia now, forget Tank, or you can put Tank in there too. I'll catch it in the chat. Is Ryan Garcia the A side or B side, or is Tank Davis A side or B side? Maybe I should have did it that way. All right. Let's see where we at. All right, I see A side for Tank, A side for Tank. Somebody just put the letter B. I don't know where that's from. I don't know if that's, I think you're saying Ryan Garcia is the B. All right, let me see where we at. Where we at? Hey, listen, y'all. I salute you all in the chat, giving me acknowledgement and credit. I appreciate y'all for real. You might never hear the business of boxing broken down like this in the lowest common denominator form nowhere else. So I appreciate you all, even though you all are giving me my flowers in the chat about how I'm breaking the business down. I appreciate y'all just being here with me tonight and just always supporting and just viewing and then learning. You know, my whole objective is when I do a live or even a small piece of content, like, you know, when I do my videos, as long as you've learned at least one thing that you did not know before you saw the content or came to a live, I'm satisfied, whether you agree with it or not. Whether your comments are unfavorable towards me or not, I appreciate it because I was able to educate you on at least one thing. I'm satisfied. Okay. All right. So everybody's basically saying B side for Ryan and A side for Tank. Everybody's saying that in the chat right now. So now, if you are in the chat, right, saying that Ryan is the B side, then how come his promoters don't know that? Now, we're talking about the politics of boxing now. That's why I'm framing this question the way that I am. How come his promoters don't know that? Yes, I see you in the chat. Thank you. I don't regurgitate information over here. You see, if you notice what Manager Marty do, you see what Manager Marty do? I ain't gonna get my strategy out. There's a reason why my lives is on Fridays and at the end of the week. Catch that. That's gonna hit you when you go out your. That's going. What I just said is gonna hit some of y'all when y'all leave in the morning to go take a jog or go to work or go to the store. That's gonna hit you as soon as you get in the car, or as soon as you jump in the Uber, or as soon as you catch the bus. That's gonna hit you. You're gonna be like, I remember him say, now I see why he said that last night. Yes, we don't regurgitate information that's already been published by other people now. We have our own mind over here. We give a different perspective on the business because we active in this thing here. Now let's get to it. How come his Hall of Fame trainer? How come his Hall of Fame promoter don't know? How come his Hall of Famer executives of his promotion company don't know that? How come the executives of the network that he boxes and fights on don't know that? We're talking politics of boxing. Oh, maybe they do know that. Salute to y'all in the chat if you acknowledge me. I see you. Maybe they do know that, right? We're talking politics of boxing now. I need you all to stay with me now. They already know that, though. They know that already, y'all. So the question becomes, if they know that, what is the problem? What's the problem? What is the problem that we're having in the negotiations? If everybody in this chat, most people on YouTube, most people in the boxing community, and even those that represent the promotion companies and the networks, if everybody knows that Tank Davis is the A side and Ryan Garcia is the B side, what's the problem? What are the delays for? What's the problem? What we talking about? Why don't we have a date? Because the last time I heard Oscar De La Hoya, who is the president and CEO of Golden Boy Promotions and founder, by the way, I heard him say on numerous occasions that this fight is supposed to be happening, I think he said April 13th or April 15th. It was one of the second Saturday in April. He keeps saying it publicly. This is weeks ago I heard him say that. Me personally, I heard him on YouTube. I heard him say that. So what's the problem now then? Why do we keep hearing reports that there are delays? Why do we see Oscar De La Hoya going on his Twitter account, tweeting things about PBC fault, PBC fumbling? We're on the 1 yard line. If this fight don't happen, it's PBC fault. What's all this about? If everybody know what the deal is, what is the delay? What's going on? Talk to me. I'll tell you what's going on. Hold on. I'm going to show y'all better than I can tell you. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. What's going on? Here. Let me see if this will help you. There you go, right there. That's what's going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew. That's what's going on. Yep. Politics and boxing. The politics of boxing. That's what's going on. You see? Now let me break this thing down to you right now. I need all of your attention right now because what I'm about to tell you is extremely important because a lot of people missed this point. Now, I did a short video on it on my channel just the other day, but now I'm going to take it a step further because I didn't want to give it all up in short content form. I wanted to have an opportunity to explain it here on my live to educate you all properly. Watch this. What has been the problem all this time in the last few days? We kept hearing what, y'all? What we kept hearing, y'all? Talk to me now. What we kept hearing? The delay is because of what? The rematch clause, right? We kept hearing that, didn't we? And what was the stipulation that we kept hearing about the rematch clause? We kept hearing that the rematch clause was not being agreed upon because Oscar De La Hoya and the promotion company, Golden Boy Promotions, wanted more leverage in case Ryan Garcia wins. Now, what kind of leverage did they want? Well, they wanted to be the lead promoter. That's leverage number one in the rematch if Ryan Garcia wins, right? And number two, they wanted to produce the rematch, not on Showtime, but on the Zone if Ryan Garcia wins, right? Now, let's be clear on something. Ryan Garcia is not the A side in this fight with Tank. And everybody knows why. Because Tank Davis is a pay-per-view star. Pay-per-view star. Okay? Why am I saying he's a pay-per-view star? Because you can take Tank Davis to LA on the West Coast. He done sold out over there. You can take Tank Davis down south, right? In Atlanta, Georgia. He done sold out there. You can take Tank Davis to Brooklyn, New York. He done sold out there. You can take Tank Davis to Washington, D.C. He done sold out there. So we understand that not only is he doing good pay-per-view numbers, but he is also doing good live gates, meaning ticket sales. So we have an understanding, right, in the boxing community that Ryan Garcia is not the A side. Now, what is the significance of me saying that with regards to the politics of boxing? Put your seatbelts on now. Put your seatbelts on now. Here it comes. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let me see if y'all woke. I need everyone in the chat. If you can. If you can't, that's all right. If you can, in the chat, just answer yes or no. Are you ready? I'm about to give it to y'all right here. When we talk about the politics of boxing, you've never heard it nowhere else. We are live in living color. We're live in living color. Talk to me in the chat. At least 5 people say yes, that you're waiting for me to give you the answer to this. 5 people. I need active communication now. I need engagement right now. 5 people in the chat. Just say yes, yup. Just let Manager Marty know that you're paying attention because I'm about to give it to you right here. I got 2 people already. Come on, 3 more. I'm not asking for no money. I'm just asking for a yes. Or just say you're ready, okay? Say yes, you're ready, or you come on, talk to me. That's 4, that's 5. Here it come. Now here it come. Let me break it down to you right here. Here it come. Y'all ready? Now I got to show my face for this. You know, man, I show face. We show face around here. We ain't got to hide from nobody. We show face around here. Now let me give it to you like this, right? Now, we all know Tank Davis not the A side, right? Everybody know that, right? Okay, now, why are we talking about a rematch when the first fight wasn't negotiated properly? The first fight wasn't negotiated properly. Now, somebody might ask me, well, Dad, Manager Marty, what do you mean that the first fight wasn't negotiated properly if Oscar De La Hoya said that they're on the 1-yard line, and if this fight don't materialize, is because PBC fumbled? Well, here's the thing. The first fight didn't get negotiated properly because of the request in the rematch. Ooh. D-Town Boxing, salute. Good to see you, my brother. Y'all subscribe to his channel. That's my guy, D-Town Boxing. Hey, D-Town, salute. I don't know if you just got here, but put your seatbelt on, D-Town. I got something for you tonight, baby. Here we come. Watch this. If the fight was negotiated properly in the negotiations of the first fight, we wouldn't even be talking about some of the requests in the rematch. Let me say it to y'all this way. Golden Boy Promotions is requesting something in a rematch that they should be requesting in the negotiations now. What am I referring to? I'm referring to the fact that, according to reports now, that De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions is requesting that the rematch be produced on the zone. But if De La Hoya and Golden Boy already have a contractual agreement with the zone, why are y'all talking about allowing the zone to publish the fight on their network in the rematch when you need to be negotiating for that now? Whew. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the same Oscar De La Hoya, right, who broke the pay-per-view highest grossing event with Floyd Mayweather. What event took place? Come on now, we got to do homework now. If you don't want to do your homework, I've already done it, and I'm going to give you the answer to the quiz right now. If Oscar De La Hoya broke pay-per-view numbers of the highest grossing events on pay-per-view with Floyd Mayweather, then that means De La Hoya has to be educated about the record that him and Floyd broke. In other words, that means he's aware that there was a fight before him and Floyd Mayweather fought that had the highest grossing pay-per-view numbers. And what fight was that? What fight was it, y'all, that De La Hoya and Mayweather broke the highest grossing event in pay-per-view history? What fight was that? That's rhetorical. I'm going to give you the answer right here. That fight was the Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson fight. Now, what's the significance of that? I'm so glad you asked. Because this is the reason why De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions should be negotiating for the leverage that they have with the contractual obligation that they have in a partnership with the zone. They should be negotiating for that now in the first fight. Why? Because Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson fought, but they both were on different networks. Y'all remember when Lennox Lewis was signed directly to the de facto promoter, HBO? You know, sort of like how Tank Davis is signed directly to the de facto promoter, Showtime, right? And you know how Mike Tyson was signed to Don King, a promoter, and have a contractual obligation to a network in Showtime? You know, sort of like how Ryan Garcia is signed to a promoter, you know, Golden Boy Promotions, and they have a contractual obligation to the zone. What did Lennox Lewis and Tyson do? Even being signed with a de facto promoter and Lennox Lewis, just like Tank Davis is, and just like Tyson signed to Don King, a promoter, who is then obligated and have a business relationship with Showtime, just like Ryan Garcia is signed to Golden Boy and have a business relationship with the zone. What did they do? They came together with both networks. They became the highest grossing event in pay-per-view history. That's why I got to pick this microphone up, y'all. Take these off too. By bringing both networks together, right? Now, how did they do that? Well, The networks got involved. See, Showtime didn't even have a conversation with the Zone. And you'd have to take my word for it. Steven Espinosa already told y'all that in a recent interview that was published. He didn't even know that Oscar De La Hoya even agreed to most of the terms that he claimed he agreed to. He was surprised. Now, why would that man, the executive of Showtime Sports, be surprised if he was already talking to the executives over at the Zone? Because that's what Ross Greenberg did. Some of y'all know who the executive producer of HBO was back then, Ross Greenberg. Some of y'all remember him, right? He negotiated with Showtime's executive to bring the fight together. And let me tell you how great the event was. They had two ring announcers. Y'all remember Michael Buffer? He was the ring announcer, and he announced Lennox Lewis. Why? Because Lennox Lewis was signed through HBO, and so was Michael Buffer, right? And y'all know who the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr. is, right? Y'all see him on Showtime a lot, right? Right. Well, he announced Mike Tyson because he's employed by Showtime. You see that? So they had two ring announcers. And then they also had two color commentators, Jim Lampley, and I forgot the other guy's name that was representing Showtime at that time. So why can't the same exact process happen with these two stars that have an agreement with either Tank's situation, like Lennox Lewis, a direct obligation and relationship with the network, and just like Tank Davis shares that same similarity with Mike Tyson, who's signed to a promoter that has the relationship with the other network, The Zone, like Mike Tyson had with Showtime, and then bring them together. That should be negotiated now in the first fight. Forget the rematch and all this, who gonna be in charge. No, we're going to try to break this is how Oscar De La Hoya should be talking. I want these two athletes to break me and Floyd's record. You see? Y'all know how, who else did that? You guessed it. Tyson Fury. Remember, he did that with Wilder. You know how Tyson Fury, with his co-promotion with Queensberry and Top Rank through ESPN, right? Hello. And Wilder with PBC, Showtime, Fox. You'll see that, right? Okay, then. So they did it, and they produced big pay-per-view numbers and live gate too. But I'm just referring to the pay-per-view aspect of it, right? You got two streaming platforms. They should be talking together. So why is it De La Hoya saying, oh man, this fight don't happen. It's PBC. No, it's you. You the promoter, right? You have a relationship, a partnership, a contractual agreement with the Zone. You should be pulling the Zone in the room now and use them as leverage as a co-streaming promotion. Now in the first fight. What are we talking about the second fight for when you know Tank Davis is signed directly to Showtime with no promoter? And you know every time this man fights, he has to fight and fulfill his obligation to Showtime. No different than Floyd Mayweather signing a six-fight agreement with Showtime. Right or wrong? When Floyd Mayweather signed that six-fight deal with Showtime, there's no way you would have saw him fighting on no DAZN card. That means he would have breached his contract, just like it would mean that Tank would breach his contract. That's the issue here. So De La Hoya and Golden Boy, they should be negotiating for a co-promotion now. Forget splitting it to see who's going to fight on what network. That's not even important. We got to deal with what's real right now and use the leverage that we have. Any questions or comments? Link is in the chat, by the way. Somebody want to come on up. They disagree with what I'm saying. Or if they want to agree with what I'm saying, cool. That's cool with me too. Any rebuttal on that? Anybody agree with what I'm talking about? Do anybody understand what I'm talking about? How I broke that down? So simple. Anybody agree? Do anybody disagree? Talk to me now. I won't hold you too long. I will not hold you all too long. And by the way, let me include this in the pot while we stirring it up. Ryan Garcia has mentioned on numerous occasions he don't care about no rematch. He don't even care about a rematch. So then why is the promotion pushing for it if he don't even care about the rematch? In other words, he's saying that to say he's confident enough that he would beat Tank Davis. I'm just saying, y'all, you might not have heard that nowhere else, but you heard it live in living color with Manager Marty. I appreciate y'all time. Talk to me now. What up, DK? Salute the DK. I see you in the chat, DK. Yeah, talk to me. I just want to see what's going on. We want to make, because we talking about the politics of boxing, remember? That's what we're talking about. Talking about the politics of boxing. Yes. Yes, that's what we're talking about tonight. Talk to me. It makes too much sense to me because I'm actively in the business and I understand what's really happening. And so I wanted to break it down for you all so that you all can understand that there's a lot of politics in the boxing game, not because of just the fighters now. We have to hold the promotion and representation accountable as well. And everybody's so quick to hold, PBC accountable. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this ain't a PBC. This is not a PBC issue. I'm just being straight up. There's no bias here. I ain't neither one of these promotion companies cut me a check anyway. So how can I be biased? But on a serious note, I said it to entertain y'all, but on some real stuff, this is the realities of it. You know what I mean? De La Hoya and Golden Boy should be promoting that now. Ain't no waiting, ain't no waiting for the rematch. Because if Ryan lose, it ain't gonna be no rematch. So why not use the leverage now? Let both of the networks get in the room and let them hash it out. Because what's going to have to happen is this: when the networks do that, let me just tell you how this works real quick. If both networks, right, come together and agree that this is going to be a co-produced event, what happens is they will negotiate on the terms based on who wins. So let me tell you what happened with Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. The deal was if Mike Tyson wins, then Showtime would air the replay and pay HBO a fee because at that point they would be licensed to air the replay without any retribution from HBO. And the opposite effect would take place if Lennox Lewis won, meaning that HBO would then receive all of the benefits of replaying the fight on their platform and then having to pay Showtime I think it was like a $3 million fee or something like that for the rights to really be able to publish it without any retribution from Showtime. You see? And the same thing can happen right here, right now, to give Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia an opportunity to break records that De La Hoya and Mayweather broke with that Lennox Lewis Tyson fight. You understand what I mean? Whoo! Man, listen, y'all. I've been holding that in all week. I've been holding that in all week, y'all. I couldn't wait to do this live today. And I try not to let it all out when I published that small little video that I produced on the channel a few days ago regarding De La Hoya and what he said about his tweet. But I was holding it until Friday, and I finally gave it to you all. And you heard it first, live in living color, right here with Manager Marty. So I thank you all for your time. If there's not any more questions or comments, or if nobody don't want to take the opportunity to join the link and come on, I'm gonna allow you all, to enjoy your Friday night and your weekend. And of course, this is Super Bowl weekend, and I appreciate everybody for joining. right now in the live. I appreciate you all that is watching the live right now on the replay. I thank you all for your contributions. Those of you that gave to support the channel, I appreciate all of you in the chat. I thank you all. And guess what? I love this channel because I can do everything I like to do on my show and say how I want to say things and say what I want to say, and I don't have to utter one curse word because I don't use profanity in my vocabulary. But the point that I'm making is I don't have to be aggressive. I don't have to try to outshine nobody. I don't have to compete with other content creators. All I got to do is just be Manager Marty. And I love the support and the feedback that I'm getting. And it makes me get the opportunity to meet some great people and have the motivation to continue to be who I am. Wait a minute, it might be a comment or a question. Oh, okay. There is a question. There's a question. All right. Wouldn't the views on the networks be very lopsided as there are so much more people who use Showtime over the Zone? Well, here's the thing. I can't prove, right? I can't prove if more people use Showtime or the Zone, but they will know that. Those networks, they both know the demographics and the analytics. So I wouldn't be able to officially and honestly say, hey, people use more Showtime, so the views are going to be lopsided. I don't know the numbers. I don't know the demographics or the analytics, so I couldn't say that. But what I will say is that's one of the purposes of the network. Let's say if Tank Davis win and Showtime produces the on-demand features, right, like they do, and the Zone have on-demand features as well, right? So let's say if they say, well, if Tank Davis wins, then we will enjoy all the benefits of the monetary gain that we'll receive through the streaming of the on-demand feature, right? If Tank Davis wins, then that's when they say, well, here is the money or the fees we'll pay to license the fact that you all cannot reproduce, right, the fight on your on-demand feature. And let's say we had more numbers. Now let me say this is the numbers. When I talked about Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, when they broke that, that record of the highest grossing pay-per-view, that was domestically. That was only in the United States. I don't know about internationally, but we know it was big because you know that Lennox Lewis is from the UK, right? So you know it was big internationally. But I'm just using it as an example, that the same thing can happen. We already know Fury from the UK, right? Right? International, right? So the point that I'm making is it don't matter what's lopsided. Both parties, the Zone and Showtime, they gonna make a big bag out of it. So it doesn't matter because then they'll be able to reproduce it, restream it on the on-demand broadcast and make more money after the fight. So this is business, and that is why De La Hoya and Golden Boy, they should be negotiating for those terms based on the leverage right now, and not wait to a rematch. Because the bottom line is, if Tank wins, there won't be no rematch, according to what we're hearing, right? So that's the whole point of this whole thing. And I couldn't wait to share that with you all this evening. I've been thinking about y'all all night. I couldn't wait to share that. All week rather, but definitely all day till I got here tonight. But if there's no more questions, comments, nobody don't feel led to join right now, I'm all good with that. Check me out again next Friday night, same time. We got some more boxing business to talk about. And it is what it is. I had a great time with you all this evening. Thank y'all for donating your time and investing your energy with me in chat. Hold on one second, because we got to make sure that we put a spotlight on everybody that donate to the channel, no matter how early or late it is. And we want to make sure that we give we give Cornell the opportunity to have his chat read publicly. Thank you for your contribution, Cornell. And I have to read it and acknowledge you right now by reading your comment. And it says, the chief of staff of Roll the Tape is in the building. We're over here begging for the best to fight the best. Meanwhile, UFC steady having competitive fights. You are absolutely correct. I like that. The chief of staff of Roll the Tape. I like that. The chief of staff of Roll the Tape. How that sound? Yes. So, I appreciate it. We all are begging for the best to fight the best. And it sounds like Ryan Garcia, according to his Twitter account, it sounds like he is ready to go. He's ready to fight. And it sounds like Tank is ready to fight. And what both of these guys are doing, this is a foreshadow of how the Spence versus Crawford fight should have taken place. You see, when fighters want to fight each other, even if they go on Twitter and all that and social media go back and forth, when two fighters want to fight, they do what they have to do and they make adjustments and then they make the fight happen. So this is inconsistent with what took place with Spence versus Thurman. We got to keep it all the way real. I'm Manager Marty. Till next time.